A lot of you guys fail to realize that I am human and I do go through things as well as everybody else. And sometimes I don't address it, and sometimes I do address it. And sometimes, like I said, there's always warning signs. There's always warning signs to let you know that a person is not in their right state of mind and that they might need help. So there's many a times when I'm on social media and I'm happy, I'm making my little car Instagram snap videos. And there's other times when I'm on social media and I'm low key crying for help and nobody ever pays attention or sees what I'm going through except my friends. And that's one of the reasons why you guys need to choose your friends wisely. You need to make sure that your friends are really friends, because you often call people friends or sister or brother, and they're not even that. They don't fit in that category at all. They're just there for what they can get out of you. And that's it. You know, if they can't get anything out of you, they don't want to be around you, they don't want to talk to you. And that's why I'm grateful for my friends, because my friends pay attention. My friends know that, yes, I'm human, but they also know that when I'm going through something, I'm going through something. So they try their hardest to make sure that they keep me sane. They always hit me up like, are you okay? What's going on? Do you need to talk? Do you need to vent? Do you need to do anything? We can't have you sitting at home. Let's go out. We're going to have drinks. I'm coming over. My friends do not allow me to go through depression alone. And that is one of the main reasons why I am still here today. And I'm just going to be 100% honest with you, because if it was not for my friends that I have right now, the people that I call my sisters, I probably would have been killed myself. 100% honest about it. Um, I think what was when I was 11 years old is when I cut myself for the first time. As a lot of you guys know, when I was kidnapped and raped, I was 8 years old, and nobody introduced me to cutting. I never seen anyone cut themselves. I just know that I was dealing with a lot of pressure at the time. I was dealing with going to different counselors and different people asking me all these questions. And then my mom, every time she seen a stranger in the street, she would bring up the fact that I was grabbed by a man, and I just couldn't deal with it. It was like constantly being thrown in my face, or I was constantly being reminded about it, or I was constantly being asked about it, and I just was in a lot of pain. And I felt the pain, but I couldn't see the pain. So, one thing about me, I bruise really, really easy. For example, I'm going to show you guys so you guys see my hand. Don't mind those little bark marks. I've been getting bit by mosquitoes at work. But you guys see my arm. Nothing's on there. Nothing's wrong with it. Look at this. See how red that is? That's how easily I bruise. So what I used to do was I would take like a razor or a safety pin, and I would cut myself right along this way. I never did the vein because, like I said, no one introduced me to cutting. It wasn't like, oh, you have to cut right here if you want results. So I used to cut myself right here, and I would look at that cut every time I felt pain, and I would see what I was feeling. I felt like I was bleeding out. I felt like I was an open wound because I was being exposed every time I turned around. I was being asked about a situation that I didn't want to talk about. So I only knew how to feel that pain that I was feeling by seeing it. So that was one of the reasons why I used to cut myself. I think I did that from the age of 11 all the way up until 13 when I got in my first relationship. Relationships and depression and mental illness, they go hand in hand with each other. Why? Because when you are lonely, you settle for anything. You settle for any type of attention. You settle for any type of entitlement. You settle for anything. And I was only 13, so I'm not saying my relationship was bad. I'm not saying my relationship was brutal. But being in a relationship gave me a sense of acceptance. Somebody wanted me. Somebody claimed me. So I never knew what being single was after I turned 13, because that was my first relationship, and I consistently stayed in relationships. It was like, oh, I broke up with you, I'm in another relationship 2 weeks later. Oh, I broke up with you, I'm in another relationship a month later. I didn't know what it was like to be single, and because of that, I accepted a lot of stuff that I should never have accepted. I settled for things that I never should have settled for, and even in my adult years, I'm still choosing the wrong ones because Fathers, this is where you come in. It's important to be in your kids' lives, especially your daughters, because women need to see what love is. If we don't see love, we don't know what love is, so we settle for what we think is love. And all the time, we're not settling for what we should be settling for. We're settling for what we need at the moment. Um, you know, if we don't see how a man is supposed to open the door for you and treat you and buy you lunch every now and then and take you to the movies, we're going to settle for the men that don't do that. We're going to settle for the men that want us to pay for the movies and want us to do this. And then, one wrong leads to another wrong. So, okay, I accepted him cheating on me. Now I'm going to accept him putting his hands on me. Now I'm going to accept him having a baby on me. All of these things are patterns because we don't know what love is, and we tell ourselves that we think it's love because we need this person to feel accepted and to feel wanted. So that was totally off topic, but it happens. It's life, and that's what it is. So I encourage guys, especially when you have daughters, to try your hardest to stay in your child's life. You don't have to be with the mother, but try your hardest to stay in your child's life just so that you can show her how a man should treat her. But anyways, when you are dealing with depression, you don't care about anybody. You don't care about what anyone has to say. You don't care about what anybody has to tell you. And if you are being allowed to be going through this depression alone, you're definitely going to go through this depression alone. I was a very spoiled kid. I think I had everything I wanted as a kid. I know when I was like a kid, younger, I had a mini beeper when those first came out. I had a cell phone when those first came out. I had my own phone line. I had a lot of friends. Whatever shoes I wanted, my mom would get them for me. So I was fairly a happy kid. I was really, really happy. Like I said, I had my own phone line. So when I got out of school, I would do my homework, and then me and my friends would get on the phone and we would talk for like hours until we couldn't talk anymore. But it wasn't until I got off that phone that I was reminded of what I was going through. I wasn't happy at home. And like I said, nothing was wrong. Nobody did anything to me. I wasn't, beaten at home. I wasn't molested at home. I wasn't trash talked at home. I just wasn't happy being there, And that's how depression is. Sometimes you don't have an answer for why you're feeling how you're feeling. You just feel how you feel. And I adapted to that as I got older. When I feel pain or when I feel hurt, I don't cut myself. I go and get a tattoo. I don't like tattoos. I don't like being poked consistently with a needle. But when I am that mad or in that much rage, I get a tattoo. And I look at that tattoo. That tattoo is permanently in my body, and I look at it and I remember exactly why at that moment I was hurt or I was mad and I needed that tattoo. So luckily, I haven't experienced that in a while. I don't have that many tattoos. My tattoos are mostly small and they're in hidden places. But every tattoo on my body, except my first one, because of course we all know when you turn 18 and you're an adult, you're like, oh, I want to get my first tattoo. So that's exactly what happened. I got my first tattoo. But every tattoo after that has been a tattoo that was caused by some kind of hurt, some kind of pain. It could have been a relationship pain. It could have been a family pain. It just could have been something. So when you're going through depression, you need to find your muse. I notice a lot of young people are dying lately. I notice a lot of young people are committing suicide lately. I notice a lot of young people are committing suicide without even committing suicide. I just lost a friend for drunk driving, and that's depression. It's depression in a sense of your mind. You were so fucked up that you allowed that controlled substance to control you and allow you to get in that car and drive that car and not think this isn't right. I have a DUI. And I have a DUI for many reasons. I have a DUI because, like I said, I used alcohol as an adult to cope with some of the pain that I was dealing with, some of the depression that I was dealing with. And there was nights where I don't even know how I made it home. And it's sad to say that, but there is nights where I have blacked out and did not even know how I made it home. I had friends in the car with me, people who loved me, people who trusted me, people who thought, okay, we're just going out having a good time, all along not knowing that they weren't really my friends. They were just using me because I had a car and I thought we were having a good time and we were enjoying ourselves. But never once did any of those people ever say to me, hey, you're drunk as fuck. Don't drive. I will drive. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so thankful and I'm so appreciative of the friends that I do have now, because when I get drunk, which I don't even get that drunk anymore, I do still drink, but when I go out, I'm controlled. I know what I'm doing. And if I am by chance too drunk, my friends are always like, nope, you're not driving. I got this. You're not going home tonight. You're staying here. We're not letting you. And those are the type of friends that you need in your life when you deal with depression, because you need to be needed. And you can overcome it. You can definitely overcome depression. I truly encourage people to seek counseling. I don't like counseling because I don't like talking to people about my problems if they have never dealt with my problem. I don't like talking to people about me being raped, because if you've never been raped, you don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand my story. You're just a person who is getting paid to listen to me tell you how I feel about being raped. If I'm giving you a story and I'm telling you about how I got my DUI, I don't want to talk to somebody who's going to sit here and judge me and say, well, why would you drink and get behind the wheel? Why would you do this? Why would you do that? Because I was not here mentally. What part of that don't you understand? If you have never experienced it, you've never witnessed it, you've never went through it, you will never ever understand what I am talking about. So me talking to you is pointless. But I do encourage you guys to talk to your friends. I do encourage you as friends to talk to your friends. You know your friends. You know your friends better than anybody. If they're not themselves, check in on them. Make sure that they are okay. If your friend is drunk and they're driving, don't let them do it, because sometimes that is their escape. Sometimes they could be drinking to get behind that wheel, and they're praying that they don't come back. They're praying that something happens. Sometimes our friends that do drugs, they're not doing drugs because they just want to be high. They're doing drugs because they are looking for an escape. And they're just waiting on that escape to happen. I know sometimes people piss us off and we no longer want to be in their presence. We no longer want to be in their company. And then when something happens, all of a sudden it's, oh my God, I wish I could have did this. Oh my God, I wish I would have did that. Here was all the warning signs right in front of me and I missed them. I failed them and I this and I that. And we beat ourselves up about it. And you can't do that. You can't do that, because you knew that as a friend you should have tried to do more. But sometimes it's too late. So I didn't want this to be a long video. I just wanted to share with you guys my experience with depression, because a lot of people, like I said, they look at me all the time on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and they're like, oh my God, you're so pretty, you're so this, you're so that. But they don't realize that sometimes I do go through things, and sometimes I do go through things alone because I don't say anything. And sometimes I do, have those moments or those thoughts in my head where I'm like, what would it be like if I wasn't here? What would it be like if I was never born? How would life be if I was to end it? What would happen if I was to get drunk and go drive and kill myself or jump off a cliff or do whatever, And I always get through it. I always get through it. And one of the reasons why I'm always getting through it is because I have a really, really good support team. I don't talk to my mom. I don't talk to anybody in my family. I talk to my friends. I can't go 2 days without answering one of my friends' text messages, because if I do, they about to pop up at my job. They about to pop up at my house. They about to figure out what I'm doing and where I'm at, and they're coming. And that's sometimes all we need. Sometimes all we need is somebody to just show us that they care and that they love us, and that means so much. It means so much. So yeah, I just, like I said, I want to encourage you guys to just be there for your friends. Just